I text you. It's like I should be better friends with you.
Yeah, why don't we hang out?
We always say that too every time.
Well,
we
you live far away.
Yeah, but we smoked a cigar. We had a great time. We had every time we've hung out, we have a great time. You're my kind of guy. You're understated. You got a good heart. You're never gonna make it big in this business like me. It's kind of like we should hang more.
But you live in fucking Westchester. Move to Queens.
Fucking bring the wife out there. What are you doing? Getting drunk with Sean Patton? Those days are over.
No, I haven't.
Come hang out with me. We'll bring fucking Louis. He's got nobody wants to hang out with him anymore.
Up there. Can we get Bobby too? Bobby, Virgie.
Bobby, we'll get him.
Like I always get a
we'll hide the food from Bobby. Let's do it.
Does Paul like me?
Paul, who doesn't like Joe List?
A lot of people in the comments section. Right now. The comment
down there.
Yeah.
Look, right down there.
The
fucking weak.
It doesn't matter how many people. I'm like everyone's favorite comedian's favorite comedian. They don't buy it. Yeah. Louis can go on. This guy, they're like, fuck Ari, fuck this guy. DePaulo.
They do it
Bobby,
for attention. They do it for attention. Well, half of them are doing it for attention.
Norm Macdonald, they're like, something's up. This guy's paying Norm off. I'm like, what do you want me to do? They hate me.
It's
I'm telling you,
they do it for attention. You can't read the comments. Sometimes I think the negativity is like because it makes you more visible in the comment.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun too to shit on someone.
It's just bar talk. It's just at the bar.
Yeah.
But it's just that it's on print and it feels bad. But it's just the same. Fuck that guy. And then if you go like, really, why fuck that guy? Well, I don't know.
I actually kind of like him.
Just fuck him. I don't know. For right now, fuck him.
I think it's my face. I think I've told you this story before. I was opening for Dane, 2004, Dane Cook. And this is when Dane was about to really break, but was selling out every club show. And this is in Boston where he broke first.
Yeah.
So he was about to become like stratospheric, and every show sold, adding shows, and I was opening, and I was killing. I was 22, and a guy stood up, this is in Boston, he was stage left, and he stood up in the middle of my set, and he goes, "This guy's a fucking nerd." In the middle of my set, and I went, "What the hell?" And then nobody said anything, and he sat down, and I just went, "That was crazy," or whatever, and I kept doing a set, and I was doing well, and he stood up a second time, and he goes, "Hey, seriously, he's a fucking nerd." And I think people don't like my face.
That's exactly it.
I think it's a little bit about that.
No, but that's also Boston. Because
he was very upset that no one was
That's
mad.
a huge comedic quality, though. That's like a huge,
no, it is. It's
perennial underdog, kind of flawed. Yeah, you have a comedic face. You do.
Thank
you look like a cartoon character.
The things that are a hindrance in real life are asset in stand-up.
Yeah, it's like a superhero. It's super.
Yeah, it's like you can't be a good-looking comic that easily. Not a good one.
No,
not usually, except for you.
Except for me.
But no, I remember Seinfeld came to the Paradise in Boston once, and he headlined there, and he's doing his jokes, and some guy stood up. It was very similar. The guy stood up in the middle of the show, and he went to leave. And it was very kind of obvious. And Jerry went like, "Am I?" Because he took his jacket and everything. Jerry goes, "Is there something wrong?" And the guy goes, "Knowledge." Like he heard Jerry the way he talks, and he just that knowledge.
You can't get everybody.
Yeah, you can't get everyone.
You can't get everybody.
But I think people think I'm paying out Louis and Norm and
you're a great comedian.
Apollo.
You're a very funny comedian.
That's not what I hear. I think you're in your. That's not what I hear.
Yes, of course.
I hear the comments too. People who watch my special, they go, "Oh, yours, Joe List." I mean, I've never heard that.
Well, more people do like me than don't. But the people that don't, there's
but where are you?
Yeah,
these
who are you
people
listening
in
to?
the comments, literally. Like you're reading insane.
Some are direct messages.
Yeah, dude, think about it like this. think about it like this. This is the way I thought about it, and this changed it for me. Would you ever comment on a video, let alone direct message something you watched?
Yelp reviews.
Are you that guy?
And
then you deserve it.
And then he reads the comments on his Yelp reviews.
Then you deserve it.
No, that's not exactly true. That's an exaggeration. I left a Google review once in Madison, Wisconsin.
So you deserve it.
A cab did not show up. And then I get notifications saying so-and-so found your review helpful. But no, I don't comment on YouTube.
No. The type of person that would do that, think about the type of person that, that would do that.
That's a sick,
put a
the
positive ones are great, but like to put a negative, like if I don't like something, I don't waste more time telling the person. No. Yeah, I'm out of there.
You want to get, you're poking. You want to get noticed.
You want attention. You want to get noticed. You're trolling. You're doing it on purpose.
It's got nothing to do with the person you're talking about.
No. I mean, and really you feel that. you feel that.
No, and you forget it. It's not like
strong.
you post it and then sit there and go,
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
what.
just move on to something else and do it like just 30 times a minute.
Yeah.
No, I've had this discussion before because we do a movie. Ron Hirschberg and I do a movie podcast, so I'll critique art, and then people will write to me and be like, "Your movie fucking sucks. How do you like it?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't email Robert Redford to be like, you're pretty flat in this movie.
Right.
I did it on a YouTube show. He's not hearing it.
Right.
I don't email people.
Right. It's a lot of effort. If you're doing that, it doesn't say a lot about the success of your life. If you're putting in that much effort to personally message, I've gotten some message, and sometimes I just go, "Hey man, are you okay?" And then watching their different response, going like, and I go, "Hey man, you shouldn't be. I don't want you to be upset. Maybe you shouldn't just be watching it."
Yeah.
And that you can see them being confused by it because I'm like, what I'm saying is true. I'm going like, "Hey, maybe you should. I don't want to hurt you."
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know I was doing this to you. Are
there
you
was
okay?
a club I worked at in Milwaukee.
Stop bragging.
It was the Comedy Cafe, and the owner was a Samoan guy named JD, and he rode Harley bikes and had a shotgun in his office that he put on the desk when he was paying you. But I was doing a show there once, headlining for a weekend, and I wasn't famous, but it was packed because the club was really good. And I used to sit by the door and watch them go in. I used to like to watch my audience go in, and I could do that. They didn't know who I am. And so there was a nice family of nice people going in. And JD saw them, and I watched him do this. He went over and he said, "Hey, folks, how'd you end up at the club tonight?" And they said, "Oh, well, we came here before and we had a nice time." And he goes, "Who did you see?" And they said, "Jeff Dunham." And he goes, "Oh, okay. So have you seen Louis?" And they go, "Oh, no." He goes, "Do you know anything about him?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "He's a tough act. He's a tough act. It's not an easy night. It's pretty rough. A lot of bad words, a lot of sexual content." And they were like, "Oh." And he goes, "Listen, I don't want you to have a bad time. Our partners and I own a steakhouse. Let me send you there and feed you dinner. You come back here another time." This is a guy who's turning business away and buying them dinner.
Wow.
Because he knows it's no good having people say,
Right.
"I didn't have a good time there." You don't just tell them, "Get in there and you fucking watch what we show you, you fucking loser."
Right.
This thing of like, we're doing the comedy and fuck you. That's not the approach.
Right.
But yeah, that's how he felt. It's like, don't have them there if they're not going to have a good time.
Right.
I was very grateful that he did that.
It's actually pretty like a smart.
Yeah.
They're actually pretty smart. Because you're going like, hey, because some people are like, yeah, I'm into that. I know what I'm getting into. Some people are going like, hey, come on, another. If I owned a business, that would be my approach.
Yeah,
That would be a smart
especially
thing.
with comedy because it's very
So subjective.
divisive.
Oh.
I have people in my audience sometimes these days that are looking at me like this, like with this sort of cynical, and I'm doing stuff that's offensive, and I see people get offended in my shows that I'm headlining, and I used to think at first like, why the fuck did you come here?
Right.
But then now I realize, no, I'm grateful that they came.
Right.
They're not into. They certainly know who I am, and they're not sure they're into it, but they came to check it out.
Right.
I appreciate that. And to me, it's like if you sit in the audience of a show, if you pay money and sit in the audience, you actually have a vote in my act. You actually will affect my act. If I see your face and you're going like this, it's going to, even in micro ways, it's going to make me change how I'm going to, not what I say, it's not going to make me choose different, but I'm going to try to reach you because you're there.
You'll be considering them in the crafting of it.
Yes. Yeah. And if there's silence after bits, again, I'm not going to give up on the bit.
Right.
That's not how I operate. I'm going to keep trying to get past that or use the silence as a place to get to the next funny thing or whatever. But you're going to affect my act. If you're on Twitter or on YouTube and you're reacting to a article about my show by somebody who wrote it, who's paid to upset you, and you write, "Fuck that guy," you don't get a vote. Not only do you not get a vote, I'm not going to hear it. I think it's actually for comedians to go online and look for that stuff by uninvested voices. It's contaminating the gland in your body that hears the audience the ones that you're supposed to be working for. Some of them, again, not perfect converts, because it's no good to just go on stage in front of people that are like, "Yeah, you're the man." You're going to just be arrested in development. But if there's people there and you're like I want you to like this, they're going to affect that gland. So you shouldn't actually, it's irresponsible to be listening to people who aren't in the fucking place, who don't go to comedy. They're not your kind of, not only are they not your fan, they're not comedy fans. They're not fans of anything. they're not even a whole person. A person on Twitter is not an entire personality.
Right.
It's just a weird part of somebody who's just going me. And if you're hearing it, that's vanity. That you want not only your fans to like you, and not only your fellow comedians to like you, want every single kind of person. And if
It's
you're
unrealistic.
it's unrealistic and it's vain. It's to be disappointed by one voice. It's hard enough on stage. You're killing, and there's that one guy who's like this, and you're like, motherfucker, and he'll ruin the show for you.
Yeah.
That's bad enough. But if you're actually out looking, searching your name on Twitter and Google and looking at YouTube, comments, you're looking for, you're fucking yourself.
That was
Does
so
Paul
well said.
Verzi like me?
Yannis, Pappas.